Okay, so first we're just gonna start with, you can just give me like a general idea of the issue at hand, and then we can explore a little bit more.
Yeah. So the issue right now is, as you probably know, like in college, it can be very difficult to decide what you're gonna do in life after college, and you only have 4 years, and you're very young during college, and that's what you do like for the rest of your life. Like you're tied up with that forever, and you can't really change. I mean, you can change obviously from job to job, but like you only have 4 years to get, theoretically like your stuff done. So it's hard to. There's like a lot of pressure on that of like, what do I want to do? What am I good at? The type of stuff that I like. So that's pretty much it. But to be more specific, like right now, I'm majoring in special education, and so with that, like I want to be a special ed teacher, obviously, and then eventually work my way up in administrative roles like principal or superintendent. But I've also wanted to do that for a very long time. Since I was probably in high school, like that's something that was appealing to me. But even more so, like I always wanted to work in like a front office position in the NBA, or just be around basketball in some way, because just because I love it, and I think that I have a special gift that's tied to it, and I have a special appreciation and admiration towards that. And so, like, I think I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't try to go do that. But as of right now, like, I'm majoring in special education, and my school doesn't offer like a sports management major or anything like that. And so I've come to like a crossroads of like, well, maybe I should transfer, or maybe I should stay where I'm at, and then it doesn't matter what degree I have as long as I have a degree. So those are some things that are kind of going on, and you can kind of take that like one or two ways, but um, that's that's pretty much it.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of recap just to make sure I understand, and then we can go from there. So it sounds like you've kind of felt decided on special education for a little while, and that's what you're studying right now. But you've kind of come to a place where you're feeling like maybe there's something else that you want to do more, but the way that you've set up your plan so far doesn't necessarily align with this new vision that you're starting to have for yourself. And so it's causing like inner conflict in terms of like what needs to change, what should stay the same, and like a bit of indecisiveness there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, definitely.
So is a lot of the stress around that feeling, is it like a pressure to have all of the answers right now? Like, is there a sense of urgency around it?
Not necessarily. There's just like a lingering feeling of like, um, if I go down this path of like education, and I go 2 more years in school, and after 2 years I graduate, I don't want to be limited to my options at that point, because I just feel like I would be, okay, like you have an education degree, you just go into education, and that's what you're going to do. And then 15 years down the line, I don't want to be like, well, I always wanted to be in the front office, but like I never went after it. And I kind of just, whenever I was 19 years old, like I didn't make the decision. So like, I don't want to be filled with regret later on because I didn't try to chase after my dream. And not even necessarily like, it's not an unattainable thing in my opinion. Like I'm not worried about, like if I did try to go after it, it wouldn't work out. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm just worried that like or if I do go after it, then I'll always go back to my education thing. Well, like, I should probably just do that. Like, I like it better. Like, this is kind of inconsistent and kind of tricky. So I don't know. What would you say about that?
So you're feeling more almost like no matter what you choose, you're a bit worried that you'll miss the other choice or kind of wonder what could have been either way.
Right. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you don't necessarily have like an option that you're leaning toward, but you're worried it won't work out. It's more just like you genuinely could see yourself doing both.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
would you say it's like you genuinely feel 50-50 about it?
No, I wouldn't say that because I'll try to describe each one and kind of say like why I like it. And I think because working with like the NBA or just in basketball, like ever since I was like a young kid, I always like admired it. Like I felt very deeply about it, and I just love the game. I love to play it. I love to like study it, everything about it, and I also love to like the little parts of like the business aspect too. I liked it, and I think at the end of the day, like I was, I've been given gifts like of building a team and building camaraderie and making an impact in some way. And so the tricky thing is with education, that's what I want to do as well as from an administrative role. It's like building a team, making an impact. However, like it's very difficult to do that nowadays because in Oklahoma, the education system is so poor. And so that's actually part of the reason why I would like to do that more, because I want to make an impact on that. Or just in my individual school district, like I'd like to change the way things are done, and like I'd like to make a bigger impact that way. But I also know for myself that I would be probably happier in doing what I was always like, what I always follow still to this day, what I always wanted to do, and what I still want to do. So it's kind of like a balance of impact, like with something I'm very passionate about in education, and something that I'm also passionate about with like my love for basketball and the sports side of that. So it's pretty tricky sometimes to decipher both ways.
Yeah. But I think I do think it's very special that you want to make either way you're passionate about making a difference, which I think it could be helpful to at least have the comfort of knowing that I know that it makes it more difficult in a way because it both feels like great options where you can help people, but that also could provide some relief too, that you know no matter what you choose, like you know that you'll love it. You're very lucky to have two things you're very passionate about. So I would hope there's a little bit of comfort in the fact that you kind of can't go wrong at the same time. So there's two ways to look at it, you know, like that's why it's conflicting, but that's like, it's so lucky to have two things that you know that you'll be great at and you can help people.
Yeah, definitely. Like that always has brought me some satisfaction. And whenever I was, whenever I went to college, I originally planned to major in business, like international business is what it was called. But I took like some business classes, and I honestly like hated it. Like I didn't like how it was like the manipulation of money and like kind of like advertising and marketing, like that stuff. For me, it felt like it was just kind of manipulative is the best word I could put it, because you're just trying to get people to use your product, and some of the big companies go big ways to affect that, or to kind of get people to buy it, and it's kind of scary, honestly. But after like a semester, I knew that I wasn't like that's not something I wanted to do, and neither of my parents are working business at all. And so I did what I always wanted to kind of do in the back of my mind is be a principal or superintendent. And ever since then, like I got a job working with kids with like impulse disorders, ADHD, autism, and that's kind of like bolstered that in a way of like, wow, I really like this. I have a gift for like working with kids, and I really enjoy making an impact on their lives.
Yeah.
And I also have taken classes in education. I'm like, well, this is something that all my grandparents were educators, and that's kind of what my family was made on. And I would like to change like the tone of Oklahoma education. And I was a substitute teacher for a while, which I loved. But I like never gave up the fact that like, wow, like something I really, really would like to do, and know for a fact that I would love my job, and I wouldn't think of it as a job. It's just something I got to do, would be to work in basketball and be around that. And then I kind of tried to like say, well, at the end of the day, like if I'm a teacher, I can just coach basketball. Like that covers it up, that covers the itch. But I don't really want to do that forever. Like in a school district, I don't really want to look 20 years down the line and just be, like, well, I'm just, and no, there's nothing wrong with that. I just know that if I would compare that to what my dreams were, then it would never live up to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like you have a strong vision for yourself, and you're worried that what happens might not align with what you pictured, and you don't want to be disappointed. That makes sense. Do you feel like there's any pressure there's any outside pressure in terms of what will make your decision?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think outside pressure, not necessarily, because anybody that I look up to or respect, or respect their opinion, they always say like either of those things, those are great things to go after. So I'm not disappointed by either of them. Kind of like I was saying earlier, like I like both of them, but there's more outside pressure like with what I'm doing now. Like I feel like there would be I don't know, like rolling of the eyes if I was to say, well, this is what I want to do again, because that's how I went to college in the first place. That's like what I started my original plan with. And so I would feel a little bit of that, but that would just be kind of my own internal deal, because at the end of the day, like I don't really care what other people think, and like it's my life and it's my decision. So I can make that decision and sound, but it is tricky because I don't want to have to jump through all the hoops. But also, like if I can just stay where I'm at and get my special education degree and still try to pursue the sports management stuff, that would be great, because I could, stay where I'm at, stay with my friends, I really like the college I go to, and kind of just continue to build that community and that friendship, instead of trying to uproot it and just leave and go to another university just because of something like that, which I've already switched majors from. So I would think that would be too big of a risk. So I don't know, like I should probably do some more research on, if I stay and I get my special education degree here where I like it, then could I just go somewhere else and still go to school for that in like a secondary education?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there aren't necessarily any specific people that are pressuring you to go one way or another. It just feels like, does it feel more like societal pressure of like, oh, I can't change my major too much, or is it more pressure from yourself, like internal, like that you're putting on yourself to not feel like you changed your mind too many times? Or
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Because I think it's societal because internally I could switch back and forth as many times and be like, I wouldn't be frustrated with myself because I wouldn't feel like, why do I keep going back and forth? I just need to figure something out. Like I don't feel that way, but
Yeah.
I would feel it more from society of like, if I told people this stuff, then they would ask me about it and I had to tell them the whole thing. And it's Thanksgiving weekend, so I just am going with the basic answer of like what I actually am doing now until that 100% changes. So yeah, I would say definitely more societal.
That makes sense. Is there anybody specific that you like when you're picturing that conversation and you're kind of not wanting to elaborate too much, it sounds like, because you're not sure how it will be perceived? Are there specific people in your family or anything that you picture when you kind of get that tense feeling around the conversation?
That's a good question. No, it's pretty much just everybody. Like, I don't want to have to just go on about it and then later on, like, I love my mom, but I don't want to have to. She's gonna be worried about me and be like, "Okay, Jeremiah, like I heard you say this. Like, what's your plan for this?" And or my dad, same deal. But like, I don't know. I've already told some people in my life about it, so that kind of helps ease it. But
Yeah.
Until I feel like, and I think it's probably a little bit my fault because I want to make it seem like I have it all together, like externally, like my image. I want to protect my image, and if I say something that I'm switching up or like, oh, I want to transfer this, like then I feel like it looks like I made a mistake in choosing my college the first time, or it makes it seem like I don't have it all together when like it doesn't matter if I do or not. Like I shouldn't care what people think to that extent.
So it's like you consciously know that you shouldn't care and that it probably isn't as big of a deal as you feel like it is in your head. Like you know that I think it sounds like you consciously know people change their major. It's okay. But it's hard to like really actually internalize that and act on it because there is a lot of pressure, especially with your family working in education and things that I would assume there's pressure to kind of know what you're doing and have it figured out. So it doesn't sound like there's pressure around which to choose, but maybe more pressure around you should just know in general, regardless of what it is. Does that sound right?
Yes, that sounds right. I mean, there's still some pressure with like, okay, eventually I will need to know, and I don't want to like continue this path, get a degree, and then I completely log myself off from anything else, and then I don't want to have to go and get another degree in something else and go but just waste money on a special education degree if I don't use it. So there's a little bit of that, but not near as much as like, okay, now I should know what I want to do now, and it's like the time's ticking down. Like the first question when you're in college is like, okay, so when do you graduate? When are you done?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I know when I'm done if I stay where I'm at, but I don't know when I'm done if I have to move and change everything. So there's definitely more from what you said.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm thinking about how you said you feel like you had to, like you almost feel like you have to protect your image, which I think makes a lot of sense that would come up as that you're feeling that way potentially more than normal even right now. I know I feel that way a little bit around the holidays just because it's natural, like people are asking you about yourself. Like that's kind of what the holidays are, is catching up with your loved ones and like updating them. And when you're not exactly sure where you're at, it can be I feel like it can accentuate the pressure that you're already feeling when you have to talk about yourself more specifically to the people that you care most with, I think, or like want to please them or make them proud. Do you have like, I feel like I've kind of asked this, but I want to know more specifically about in terms of like you feeling like you have to protect your image. Do you know where you learned that, or do you feel like that's your own idea you pushed on yourself, or do you feel like you were taught, like, to portray yourself a certain way? Do you know where that pressure's coming from to, I guess,
Yeah,
protect your image?
protect my image. Yeah, I think like you're kind of around it, or like around it in my family at least. Like we're kind of all supposed to like look a certain way and act a certain way and be respectful, and all those things are good, because you just want to be like people with the human race that are respected and respectful, kind, all the right things. But I think whenever I look at it like an external view from people, it's like, okay, I want them to view me as like all of these good traits, when in reality, I'm not all those traits all the time. Like I'm very, very opposite from all those good things. But in the eyes of my family that I see during the holidays, in the eyes of people at my school, in the eyes of people that I respect, I definitely put on something that I act a certain way, to be respectful, to be kind, to be curious. And I do genuinely want to be those things, but it's hard. It's a hard battle because I think like I want to, but yeah, to answer your question, I would say mostly from internal. Like that's just kind of like I would think my nature is to care about what people think, and to be like this person that maybe I'm not all the time.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I don't know if I answered that or not.
No, you did. I think it makes sense, and I know that like we have similar family dynamics. Like we grew up in a similar community, so
Yeah.
I definitely understand what you're talking about in terms of like it's not like you disagree with your family's values or anything. They want you to be kind and respectful and personable, and like be able to tell people what your major is and it be something that they can be proud of. And I think that's nothing that you disagree with, but the pressure, is it maybe coming from a place more of like all those things are true, but at the same time you're not perfect, so you're not gonna show up in that way 100% of the time. And so in those moments where you're human and you don't feel like being super friendly, or you don't know what you want your major to be, it's like it feels like almost as if you're not living up to the expectation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if I don't live up to expectation, it's more of a shock, because I built myself up to look like I am perfect, but I'm really not. And that's something that I also don't want to do at all. Like I don't ever want to say something out in public that I think that I am or that I do, but back home I'm a different person. And so that's an interesting thing too. But yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that.
So you're feeling pressure around like you're aligning how you portray yourself with who you actually are in a way?
I wouldn't go so far to say that, because I think like at home I feel like I'm myself 100% of the time. Like I'm Jeremiah. It's not like I go home and I am just a complete like just a bum, and I'm just rude to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm rude to my brother and my sister, my roommates, or whatever it is. I'm not like I'm respectful to everybody. But as far as like the reputation that I want to build for myself, and like this perfection or this portrayal that I have everything together and I have this figured out and I know what I want to do, then that is important
That
because
makes sense.
yeah.
So it's not like you're being fake or anything like that, but would you say maybe it's more along the lines of like perfectionism? Like it's not like you're trying to, there's two different people and they don't align, like anything like that, but maybe it's just like you want it to, when you're in public, you want it to be like the best version of you, which I think is a normal feeling. I think most people want to like portray the best version of themselves to others, but maybe you're searching for a balance where you can be the best version of yourself but also have flaws or be unsure sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think and I think maybe that stuff comes into like perfectionism is a great way to put it, but perfectionism when it comes to my image is what I would say.
Yes.
Like whenever and sometimes that can lead to me being like drained sometimes because I'm like someone I'm not, but also I think it's not necessarily a bad thing to go in public, be like this like extroverted, like friendly, kind, like portrayal of myself that I'm hardworking or that I care about like certain things, whatever it may be. And then I get to my car and maybe I'm a little bit like, okay, I gotta take a deep breath because that was a lot to put on the mask.
Yeah.
But it's more of like trying to find the balance of maybe I should be that person like all the time, but that's also draining. But I also should just be myself and maybe don't put on a mask in public, like be extroverted. So I should just try to be more myself. But I also, if I'm just myself, then I might come off as rude and I might show that I'm not like, I don't care about what the person is doing when in reality I do. And so I don't think it comes from a place of like, I'm being selfish, but I just want people to look up to me in a way, I guess.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Especially if you're someone which you obviously are, somebody who wants to help others, and like you want to center your career around like making the world a better place, or at least making like a group of people's world a better place, then it makes perfect sense that you also want to like represent yourself well and make others feel good around you, and like always be kind and always be a leader and be a good example. Like I think all of those things make a lot of sense. And I think for me, I'm a strong believer in like your strengths can also be your weaknesses. And so it sounds like there's just like an internal struggle of like, you know what you want to do, you want to help people, you want to, you know, represent yourself in a way that aligns with your values. But that also comes with like a pressure to, you know, kind of seem like you have it together. And I know I feel that way too. I think especially in knowing that I want to be a counselor now, I think that to me that's a strength. I'm proud of the fact that I want to help people, but there is a pressure around that where it's like, because I want to do this, I have to represent myself as someone who seems like they can be a counselor all the time. And finding a balance of being like, yes, I should be a mentally well person and like be a good example, but also like I'm a person, I'm gonna mess up sometimes. That doesn't represent me all the time or mean I shouldn't be a counselor or whatever. I do understand that pressure, and it can be hard, but I think the fact that you have somewhat of an idea of what you want to do is like a really big step. And I remember being your age and it feeling like you had to know, but you do have so much time. So I think the more you explore that, the more you'll kind of like get clarity, I guess, that you don't have to know exactly right now, as long as you're sort of following what aligns with you for now, you know? But I think in terms of your major and stuff, I understand what you mean. I was public relations, and it felt icky and gross, and I didn't know what I wanted to do till I was 28. So you'll definitely figure it out, and however it's meant to happen, it will happen. But
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's comforting to hear.
yeah, that the pressure is real, though. You know, like, to have everything figured out when you come from a family that's centered around education and college. It feels like, to me, I felt like my whole childhood led up to college. Like, that was the whole point. But do you feel that way too?
I feel like college is more of not like everything leading up to it. Like everything in my childhood kind of is leading up to me becoming the best person I can be. But in college, it feels more of like a door to the rest of my life. Like what I do in college is, because so many of my parents' friends, my parents' lives are centered around like their college experience and their friends that they still have. And so there's a lot of pressure on like, okay, I want to make friends that I have in college, and I'll have them for the rest of my life. I want to be able to go to my college and look back on it and be like, wow, that was a happy experience. I didn't miss out on anything by, whatever. But I just did it, and I was happy. And now, like, the career that I choose opens up the rest of my life to more opportunities.
So you feel like this is kind of like the launching pad for everything, which would make sense that you're feeling pressure around that, because the way that it's been portrayed to you and centered and how it feels to you too is like, this is kind of what determines everything moving forward.
Yeah.
So of course you're gonna feel like you need to make the right decision.
I'm sorry, man.
You're good. You're good.
I tried to swipe the notification up, and it took me away.
You're good. No, that makes a lot of sense, though. I think we're pretty much done with our 30 minutes, but on our second half, I feel like it will be good. We can kind of like explore what both options will look like, and like maybe kind of figure out what feels most truly aligned with like you, without all of the outside pressure. We can maybe try to get to the core of Jeremiah and kind of try to ignore the outside pressure.
Well,
maybe we can help you. That. Okay, sounds good. I think we're at like maybe like 31 minutes, but you got a free minute from me.
Let's do it. That's great.
Okay. All right, let me turn this off.